Hey, this is Eric Tomei from Top Point Investments. If you want to learn how to use your small axe to build an empire, you should be listening to the Small Axe podcast with my good friend Nico Salgado.
Hey guys, it's your boy Nico here from the Small Axe Podcast. I want to show you how to use your small axe to build a lasting empire. You see, not everybody begins their investing career with millions of dollars, a huge network of investors, or the knowledge necessary to become successful in this space, and that's okay. What I focus on here on this podcast is helping you hone your skills, sharpen your tools to become the best investor that you can be. Now, I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy this show. If you have any questions or you want to reach out to me or the guest, feel free to do so. Love you guys. Well, okay, Small Axe community, this is Nico, and today I'm so happy. I'm hanging out with my man, Eric Tomei, for the second time on this podcast. I'm so excited to bring him on. I always love to hear what he has to say. His energy, his enthusiasm is ecstatic and wonderful. I think you guys are going to love him as much as I do. And if not, he's all mine. I'm talking to him for the rest of our career together. Eric, my man, welcome back to the show.
Oh my gosh, thank you for that awesome introduction, Nico. Always great to be with you. Always great to spend time with you. I'm excited to talk and let's get to it.
Yeah, let's jump in. I do want to give the listeners a background, or have you explain your background a little bit.
Sure.
Maybe talk about what you've been doing the past few months, because you haven't been on in a few months. But start with a basic background and then what you've been working on the past few months.
Yep. So my background is healthcare. I still do have a W-2. Although, I'm looking to transition out of that, to be perfectly honest. I'm a physical therapist, for everybody who does not know. I am also a published author, which people do not know that about me. That's a little secret. I wrote a book about 15 years ago, experiencing or just chronicling the experience with losing my dad. And it was a very actually cool and cathartic journey in terms of finding closure in that part of my life. Real estate wise, I started in the single family flipping industry. I flipped over 125 homes in 15 years. Flipping is great when it works, and it's not so great when it doesn't. And I've had some great successes and some great setbacks. And, the thing is, you're always learning as an investor, which is so important. And you grow as an investor, each house that you do and each property that you do. So, and none of us, as we know, walks out of this undefeated as a real estate investor. You're going to have your challenges. You're going to have your wins. Hopefully your wins are a lot more than your losses. This past year, with some great partners, Andy Hubb, Zaid Kassab, we formed Top Point Investments. We've hosted 12 meetups here in the Metro Detroit area in Michigan. It's been a lot of fun for us. We recently finished capital raising for a 72-unit new build in Springfield, Missouri, with Sharpline Equity. We're very excited to be partnering with them. They're a first-class operation, and we couldn't be more thrilled to be joining their team on this property. So that's kind of what we are doing in a quick 30-second to a minute nutshell, but we're always looking for obviously opportunities and great teams to partner with.
That's so cool, man. Eric, I didn't know you did 125 flips. First of all, that is a lot of work, man.
It is a lot of work. And let me tell you, I am not the dude by any stretch to take a hammer and a tool belt and go fix these houses. I am probably the least handy person you're going to ever want to meet. Now, I can do basics like screw in a light bulb, change batteries, pretend like I, kind of know what I'm doing on the tougher stuff. But look, you have to have great help. And I'll tell you what, a flipping business is hard to scale. Sometimes you got the houses, but not the money lined up. Sometimes you got the money and not the houses. Sometimes you have both and you can't, line up the contractors. We've all been through that. So it's been an interesting journey, and it really has been fun in some parts, nerve-wracking in a lot of parts. And I think it just brings you to the point where you are today, which is, I can honestly say that I'm pretty much done with flips.
Man, I can't imagine all the work that goes into it. And you mentioned there when you were speaking that there are wins and there are losses. So it's got to be emotionally tolling as well, especially given that you're working a W-2 and you have a family, you're raising kids. It's a lot. It's really a lot of work. Now, and I'm sure that contributed to your transitioning into multifamily. But before
Without
we
a
get,
doubt. Yes.
yeah, I can imagine. But before we get there, I want to ask a couple of questions.
Sure.
What is your W-2 schedule like? I mean, physical therapy is awesome. I truly love it and believe in it. I think you're helping people out and it's wonderful. Do you get to set your schedule? What is it like?
No, not at all. It's a great question, Nico. I have to work from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. I do get an hour lunch. So I'm not gonna, fool people. There have been times where I've been working on patients and I've had my speakerphone on because I've had to deal with a realtor or deal with a business partner or deal with a real estate deal. And I will explain to my patients, I'm like, look, here's what I'm doing on you, and here's what I need to do right now. It's probably not ideal. It's probably pretty comical if you ever walk into my clinic, but it's, hey, you got to get things done. You got to make it happen.
It's incredible, man. Were you working with partners? Was Andy or Zaid your partner that throughout some of those?
It's funny. Zayd and I actually, when we met, we actually did do a flip together, and it was profitable. And I really, truly enjoyed his work ethic and all the perspectives he brought to a deal. I feel like I learned a lot and continue to learn a lot from him. Andy and I were just friends from probably about, oh gosh, 10 years ago. We just talked about real estate over the years, and our love of sports. We have the same kind of sense of humor. And Andy's one of those people where I feel like we can finish each other's sentences and we'll look at each other and be like, yeah, dude, that's what I was going to say, right? So both, I couldn't be happier and more grateful to obviously partner with both of them.
I can't. So people listening don't know the amount of energy and time and effort you put into real estate in general, because I see it and I
Yes.
only see a portion of it, meaning I'm seeing on our Make It Happen Mastermind chat, I'm seeing you chime in, give great advice, listen to people, cheer people on. It is a lot of work just keeping up with that chat. I can't imagine all the other work you're doing outside of that, on top of the W-2, on top of the family, on top of the meetup that you're doing. I feel like you got a lot going on, man.
I do, Nico. I guess the one thing that I always think about is there's 24 hours in a day. It's always somebody's choice how to use those 24 hours. Now, of course, you got to stay healthy and you got to take care of yourself, right? Or otherwise you're not good to anybody. So that's why I'm religious about working out at 5 o'clock in the morning, at least 6 days a week, most weeks 7. You have to take time for yourself, but I'll tell you what, if you have a down minute, that means that you can be doing something to either progress your business, or you can be doing something to not only progress yourself, right? So there should be no wasted minutes in a day. Very few times do I just get to hang out on the couch and watch TV. I'm not really a huge TV watcher anyway, but I always feel like that there's something to do, just because if you haven't reached a goal or your goals, you probably shouldn't be hanging out on the couch watching TV too much.
Man, I am in the same boat. My couch is from 2004, and you can, and I have never bought a new one, and it looks fine because nobody ever sits on it. And
Right.
I don't have TV, but I do get tired. I do get unmotivated sometimes, and I'm sure you do too. So what do you do during those times?
Oh, that's a great question. And I think it's human nature to get unmotivated sometimes and to maybe get thrown off track, right? So honestly, my thing is, and I know this sounds probably cliche and kind of cheesy, but it works for me. I listen to I listen to YouTube videos, and two of my favorites are Ed Milet and David Goggins. For whatever reason, those two speak to me on a different level. And for me, it really kind of snaps your head back into shape. Like, hey, all right, so this is a setback. This is a challenge. You feel lazy. You feel motivated. You don't feel like getting up for the gym. Whatever the excuse you're trying to make to yourself is, that doesn't mean it's going to get anything done. Right. So for me, those are the things that I sometimes refer back to quite often to kind of snap my mindset back into place.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love David Goggins. I never heard of Ed Milet. I just wrote him down. I'm going to check it out. Now, what time do you go to bed?
Oh gosh. So if there's one thing that I do not do well, that potentially might land me in a hospital someday in the future, it is the lack of sleep I get. My
Okay.
day starts between 4:45 and 5 o'clock, and I regularly go to bed between 11 and 11:30 at night. That is
Mm,
not a lot of sleep.
hmm.
But you know what? Sometimes I'm not here to say sleep is overrated. I think sleep is essential to good physical and mental health. I'm just saying I'm probably one of those people that doesn't require a lot of sleep, and I don't get a lot of sleep. So I can probably do a way better job at that.
Yeah, I hear it, man. It's tough. But I wanted to transition a little bit when I was originally asking the question about all the work that you have on your plate, right? Because you're
Yeah.
loaded, I'm loaded, but you also have a couple partners and you have a spouse, right? I mean, how do these people help you out, and how do they help you out, and how can they help you progress?
Yeah. So my partners, Zaid and Andy, I mean, they're fantastic at helping attract new people to our meetups. Right. Andy does have a W-2 as an attorney. So he sometimes isn't able to necessarily take care of some of the day-to-day tasks of the business, which is fine because I have more flexibility, and so does Zaid in his job. He's a realtor by trade, helping investors not only with investment properties, but representing single family residential homeowners find their first or second or third homes. So they definitely I take over the business operations mostly. My wife is a financial advisor, and we definitely have some
Mm,
interesting discussions
mm.
on wealth building. And honestly, she's so good at what she does. And I've supported her in, not supported her financially, but just, provided support for her because she's just so darn good at what she does, and she's so good at helping people. So she's definitely gone through some rough real estate deals with me. So I really am just thankful for her support through everything, to be perfectly honest. But I don't think that she wants to help in a real estate business,
Gotcha. But you know
to
what? The
be
emotion,
perfectly 100% honest.
the emotional support or the permission is
Yes.
probably just as important or more important, perhaps.
You're right. You do need your significant other's support on board because there's gonna be some rough times, right? So you do need that support. I've learned that over the years, right? I thought I could do it on my own, and oh, no big deal. And no, you need the support of your family to do what you do every day.
100%. Oh, cool, Eric. Let's transition a little bit now into your, I guess, journey into the multifamily realm.
Yeah. So, Nico, I'll tell you what, it's so funny. It all actually happened. Andy and I were having breakfast one Saturday. It was probably, I want to say April or May of 22. I had always wanted to get into the multifamily space, but honestly, I just didn't know how to do it, to be perfectly honest. Right. So basically, we were having breakfast. He's like, Eric, you're a trusted friend. I wouldn't lead you wrong. I'm part of this mastermind. I joined in November of 2021. It's absolutely fantastic. I mean, Andy's right. He's never really led me wrong. So, I had a conversation with our good friend Hadar, who you had on your podcast not too long ago. He's a fantastic human being and a great multifamily investor. And after a conversation with him, I can tell you, I was sold. I was like, and honestly, I joined in June of 2022, and it's really the best investment I've ever made a year and a half later, because not only the relationships that you form, but the education and the knowledge you get every day to be better, not only in the multifamily space, but to be better as a person overall.
Yeah, so cool, man. I can agree with everything you're saying about the mastermind and just being involved in a network like us. We're extremely lucky to have this support group. Now, what are your have you done multifamily deals? I know that you guys were just raising, but let's talk a little bit about some deals, if
Yeah.
any, and what your thoughts overall are on that full cycle journey of going multifamily for the rest of our career, let's say.
Yeah. So, I mean, currently I have a company that has actually 13 units. Half are actually short-term rentals, Airbnbs, half are long-term rentals. I own a 5 unit here in Metro Detroit as well. I have an LP position in a 108 unit deal in Kansas City, Missouri, with actually the Sharp Line team. And then, of course, this new build that we raised on. So I actually have never to be honest with you, I've never gone full cycle on a deal as of yet. So, and some of these deals, they can go as quick as 18 months, and some of them can go as much as 5 to 10 years. You really don't know. It's based on market conditions, and it's based on what the operation, the team, and the operators of that team really feel is the best financial success for that deal. So I have not gone full cycle on a deal as of yet, but I'm looking forward to going full cycle on a deal, because it's certainly, if the deal is run right, it's a celebratory time.
Yeah. I misstated that question. I'm going to change it a little bit, but I also wanted to kind of highlight that Sharpline team is incredible. I'm
They
excited that
are.
they
Yeah.
really do great things. A lot of my friends have invested with them and love them. And it's
Yes.
really important as limited partners who are searching for deals and operators to find a good team. And then you try to stick with them as much as possible.
I
Obviously,
agree, man.
yeah, there's
Yep.
timing that comes into play as well, and things like that. But you try to stick with a few different operators and you roll with them. You jive with them, you vibe with their transparency or whatever it is, and their performance and their track record, and you go with it. But
Definitely.
so you have a bunch of multifamily now. I guess my thought process was geared towards this question is geared towards like newer multifamily
Mhm.
investors and their thoughts going in, because when I first began thinking about buying multifamily property, I thought I was going to buy one giant deal. I was going to be this big syndicator
Yep.
out of nowhere and be financially free because I automatically now own a $10 million building. But that doesn't translate for us always or most of the time as a
Right.
$10 million net worth, and now I'm just financially free. It doesn't work that way. It is a time. It is a long game. Maybe you
It
could talk a
is.
little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So if I had like any new advice to give new investors going into the multifamily space, I would say two things. If you have the financial resources to be a limited partner in a deal, that's really a great way to start, because you can see how the process works from start to finish. Okay, acquiring the deal, marketing the deal, attracting capital to the deal, and then the asset management or the general management of the deal. Okay, most operators who work on the GP side or the general partner side will let some LPs go in, come in, jump in on calls and enjoy that process, so that they're eager to learn. So that's really one thing that I can suggest to people. Now, if you don't have the money to enter into a deal, no problem. How can you provide value to a team? Are you great with numbers? You can be a great underwriter for a team to provide value. Are you great at organizational skills? Perhaps you can help with the asset management of the deal. Are you a great deal finder? Do you have a marketing system that you can find off-market deals? That's another great. Find a way to add value to a team, and you can start your multifamily journey with little to no dollars out of your pocket.
It's so true. And that's really how I'm doing it. I'm going through the adding value route. And my first
Yeah.
couple of deals were adding value by bringing capital and tackling tasks that some groups didn't want to do. You
Yes,
still have to be, you have to be a likable person to get involved in a team. People are not
you
just going to
do.
pick you up off the street and say, you have to build build rapport with them, build a relationship over time, and then they might invite you on if you're lucky enough. And then what
Right.
happens with me is I get a few percentage of equity in a few deals. You take that equity once the deal sells, or however it is, you can use it on your balance sheet to then get your next deal, right? And you accumulate these deals, and over time, that equity will eventually turn into capital that you can put to work in other deals, and you grow and you build your own portfolio. Um, there,
Absolutely right.
yeah,
Yes.
cool, man. All right, so let's talk a little bit about your strategy with this meetup. Why did you guys start a meetup?
That's a great question. So we actually started it with actually dinner meetings, and really our target focus was, our network. And a lot of our network was either medical or healthcare professionals or attorneys. Uh, Andy's an attorney. Zaid in his community knows a lot of medical professionals and business professionals, and of course, mine's in healthcare as well. So that's really what we focused on. We focused on what we knew, and we've kind of expanded it from there. Honestly, it's been really a fun way to get to know people on a more personal level. Food brings people together. We all love it. And it's just a common bond we all have as part of the human experience. And people really start to talk about their lives, which you want to find out about, right? Over food, right? So that's what we figured was the best way to do it. Currently, how we have our meetup structured is we actually meet in a conference room, and our meetups are no more than 10 to 15 people. So we really cater to a small group. It's not 200 people in a massive hall or anything like that. We really want to get to know our people because we feel like our investors are truly like family to us.
I think that that's the way to go, man. And we've been doing, Joseph and I have been doing some smaller meetups as well with just
Yeah.
dinner. And I personally love it. There is no expectations of pitching or selling or even talking real estate. We get to know each other. We get to talk families and goals. And then the conversation leads us to real estate because we're all passionate about it. And so many great questions come up. I love it.
It's an awesome way to achieve a goal, right? Because you're not there looking for money. You're looking to know that person and what they want, right? It's so important to understand what the goals are of the person you're talking to. Maybe it's not multifamily real estate at all, right? But you find that out by asking questions. You talk less, you listen more.
Excellent advice. Eric, do you present anything at these meetups, or is it just kind of free flow?
Yeah, actually, so we do a little PowerPoint presentation. It's just basically an intro on just our personal lives and some of our interests. One of my interests is coaching my kids' sports, which I've done since they were both 5 years old, and now they're a teenager as of Monday and 11 years old. So it's really actually kind of a fun way for them to get to know us a little bit. And then we just simply tell them all the deals that we've participated in and how many units that we own. It's just pretty much presenting the facts. But one thing that we tell people in all of our presentations, right, whether we've met them before or not, nothing is guaranteed. Like there's no guarantees in life, and there's no guarantees in multifamily real estate or any other real estate for that matter. You're taking a calculated risk based on education and numbers, and we are going to be the stewards really of those funds if they so choose to invest. But we are very crystal clear on the fact that nothing is guaranteed.
It's great to start the conversation that way, and I've actually gotten better results by starting a conversation that way than just trying to pitch and sell. I found
I
that.
agree, my friend. In fact, we don't even sell anything. We specifically, in fact, it's so funny you bring that up because one meetup we had, and it was an investor that had came before, like he pretty much asked, "Hey, what are you trying to sell here?" And Andy, I mean, you've had Andy on your show too, right? One of
Love
the
it.
most mild-mannered guys. He was like, "Look, we're not trying to sell anything. This is not a pitch. We are not offering anything. We are trying to educate you on the value of multifamily real estate investing over the long term. That's it."
Beautiful. So I remember, it was one deal that we didn't even close this deal, but I was having conversations with investors, and I've been doing this at that point for like 3 years, and I was kind of tired of it. And I just said, look, my first words are, look, this is not a deal for everybody. And I'm going to tell you why. There are these serious issues, those serious issues, those serious issues. And then what I found was that the risky, excited personality would come out in somebody or not, right? but
Yes.
but more often than not, it would turn people into this like, oh, this is an opportunity for me because I like this type of risk. I like this type of deal where we can go in and really change something and just take on the challenges that we're about to take on. So
I
that's
think
where I
you hit
go.
the nail on the head. It's knowing your investor's risk tolerance. Some people thrive on that challenge of wanting to take something from nothing and turn it into something, right? So I think that that's huge in terms of understanding your investor psychology, and their risk tolerance, because that really dictates whether they'll probably participate in a deal or not.
Yeah, and it laid it all out on the table immediately, so we weren't having multiple phone calls, if they weren't interested, because then at some point they were
Yes.
going to realize that the deal, there were some issues and we needed to work through them. So I laid it
Right.
out.
Exactly. It's just so much easier and so much less stress if you're just honest and authentic. right off the bat. Like, hey, this is the deal, people.
Yep. It's funny. We raised, we like, that was an easy one for me. We got all the capital together, but we ended up not closing on it for other reasons. There were
Yeah,
just
which happens
issues.
sometimes. I mean, that's
Yes.
happened to all of us. Or you initially agree on something, and then, through due diligence, which is what every good multifamily real estate investor does, right? You have to obviously, see what the whole story is with the property. And sometimes you walk away, and that's okay.
Yep. I wanted to ask you something about the meetup before we move on.
Sure.
Because I know that my listeners are doing meetups or thinking about starting a meetup. Now, when you're approaching people, are these your friend? That's two questions. Are these your friends and family? And if so, or if not, how do you approach them and say, hey, come to this meetup? And they're like, what? Is this some sort of cult? Like, how do you approach people? Because people need to know how to approach people.
I think that's a great question. Sometimes your friends and family can be the most intimidating, truly. So with us, that has not been the case. We've friends, family, and very close networks of people. Now, through that, people have invited their networks to come and join our meetups, right? So it's really, if you like, you get what you ask for. If you don't ask for anything, you're never going to get anything, right? So
Mm.
we ask. And oftentimes I hear no, especially from my networks. And that's fine. It's I don't take it as offensive whatsoever. No to me means not right now. So it could be the right situation in 3 months, 6 months, a year, or never. So really, I think you have to just approach people who you think would be either interested in educating themselves, or from past conversations, you remember something that, hey, this meetup might be a good fit for them.
Cool. And have you raised capital through that meetup yet?
Yes, we have. And I'll give you a story.
Cool.
Which we thought was a disaster at the start. I don't know if this was meetup 8 or 9. I can't even remember, right? So there's always the thing, right, where people, 5 or 6 people, 7, 8 people, however many you have, and then all of a sudden, like, a child gets sick. I had to stay late for work. The weather, whatever it is, right? We had one person show up for our meetup one time. But let me tell you what, that one person was all we needed, because we definitely, he was our investor. So sometimes it's not necessarily strength in numbers, it's the quality of the person that's sitting in front of you and how eager they are to really further educate themselves on multifamily real estate.
So cool, man. I love that story. Thank you. Thank
Yep,
you for sharing.
of course.
All right. So, but we're going to transition soon. We're about over time now, whatever. What we're going to do though is I want to get your thoughts on the market today. Are you still looking at deals, and what your future plans are?
Yep. So the market can today, I think it's probably no secret to everybody. Interest rates are high, certainly, or higher, right? And again, nobody has a crystal ball to forecast when those are coming down. Do I think they're going to come down to 2 or 3% like we saw in the last, 4 or 5 years? No. 7% right now is the historical average, really, if you look at it over a huge amount of time. And I'm talking maybe the last 50 or 60 years. Do I think they're going to come down a little bit? Yeah, I do. I think we're going to probably settle. And this is just my prediction. Okay. Nothing based on science at all. Probably between 5.5 and 6 sometime in maybe the next 12 to 18 months. Again, my prediction only, just from studying stuff, not necessarily fact. So market conditions, yes, we are still looking at deals, and we are still looking at various deals through different operators and operators that have brought us deals in the past, right? I think it's so important to look at other operators' deals, because you can see how they think about a deal, their psychology behind it, their underwriting, how they process numbers, how they're looking at things that maybe either you looked at before and you didn't think of, or maybe they're not paying enough attention to, that you would pay more attention to that. So I think it's very educational to look at other operators' deals as well. And we do get a fair share of deals that, that we hear about, that we've looked at seriously, but we say no to a lot more deals than we say yes to. Trust me. And it's not because we don't like the operators. It's not maybe because the numbers are good. Sometimes it's a time frame where do we feel like we can raise X amount of dollars in 2 weeks or whenever they need it. We want to make sure that if we give our word to something, that we fulfill that word, and that our word is really like our bond, right? We want to make sure that if we say we're going to do something, we do it. So, and then, okay, refresh my memory. What was your last question?
No problem. Yeah, the last question is what is your plan for the future? I'm
Oh,
talking like year to 1 to 5 years.
yeah. So honestly, I do love the capital raising part of it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I enjoy the heck out of it. So for us, I think we would just really enjoy the fact of continuing to partner with great people on deals that not only they have, but maybe some of their networks have. Uh, Honestly, I enjoy the operational side of it and the asset management side. I'm questioning myself why I like it, but I do like it. And I think it's actually, to me, it's executing the business plan day to day. And for me, that excites me. I think that that's really the nuts and bolts of how to run a successful multifamily building before and after it closes. So yeah, so that's our plan for 1 year. I don't even know if we actually sat down and said, hey, we want to have this many units under management, or we want to be in this many deals. I don't even think it's that. I think what we want to do is we want to try to connect with as many quality people as possible, and then build relationships with people who have great deals, and see where that leads. Certainly, we're going to be in the multifamily space for quite a while, I anticipate, because it's such an enjoyable space to be in.
So cool, Eric. And
Yeah.
really, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I think that this is something that I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Yes.
I enjoy it, and I've been extremely busy, extremely overwhelmed with life. But my
Yes.
mind is still, even under those circumstances
I
and those
know.
conditions, I'm still thinking about real estate and still making moves.
You can have the weight of the world on your shoulders, but you think about the thing you truly love.
Yeah.
That's at least true for me. If you go back at the end of the day and think, my gosh, this is something that I still love to do, even when all this stuff, and life's going to throw you challenges every day. That's with everybody, right? But if you still at the end of the day love what you're doing and love the multifamily space, it's hard to beat.
Yeah. Oh man, Eric. All right, let's wrap this. This is so cool. We'll do it again in a few months, but
We always run out of room to talk, or we always run out of time to talk.
it's okay. It's good. The conversation is sharp. I like it. Let's get our final question again, and it could change. I don't even remember what you said last time, but let's try it, and then we'll get people some form of contacting you. So, Eric, let's imagine it was 100 years from now. You have great grandchildren. They're so happy, and they want to write a book about you. What would you want them to title this book?
It's been one hell of a ride.
That's cool, man.
And what I mean by that, and I think this goes for everybody's life too. It's not just mine personally. Um, there's going to be a lot of roller coaster moments, right? There's going to be a lot of great moments, and there's going to be a lot of lows too, right? That is just part of the journey of life. You have to know how to handle both with kind of grace and dignity and class, and know how to move on and rise to the challenge. So if I would like them to say that about me.
So cool, man. I love that title. All right, Eric, let's get the listeners some form of reaching out to you.
Yeah, so you can obviously go to our website, which is www.toppointinvestments.com. We also have a Facebook and Instagram presence. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to give my cell phone out on this podcast, but
Yeah, it's
I
up to
will,
you.
because I'm an open book and anybody can contact me. My cell's 248-767-3406. Feel free to contact me. I love to talk real estate day or night.
Yeah, and where are you located so people that
Oh
are
yeah.
local to
I'm
the meetup?
located right outside of Metro Detroit in Michigan. Yep. I'm a
Perfect.
Midwest dude.
Perfect. All right, Eric, it has been a pleasure, as always, speaking with you. I can't wait for the next time to be on air. But unfortunately for my listeners, they're going to have to wait till that next time. But I get to text you and message you in the meantime, unless they jump on that cell phone and get in touch with you now. So thank you, Eric.
Absolutely, my friend. It's been a pleasure, as it is always, and I always enjoy our time together.
All right, my friend. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Hey, Small Axe community. I would like to say thank you for listening to another episode of my podcast where we show you how to use your small axe to build a lasting empire. Now, if you liked what you heard, it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and write a review. Also, if you want to get in touch with me, go to my website at smalaxecommunities.com. Book a call with me. And until the next episode, keep sharpening those axes.